I'm already annoyed, right? I'm already annoyed, and I'm going to tell you guys exactly why. Arguing about this LeBron versus Michael Jordan argument, or being a part of that conversation, is one of the most tiring debates for me. Why? The reason I'm saying that is because we have destroyed this argument so many times. We've done at least 20 videos, and it's boring to talk about it. But whenever you have a big voice like Draymond Green, and he goes out there and he starts saying that LeBron is better than Michael Jordan, I feel that we need to speak up on this platform to represent the views of people who are diametrically opposed to those views of Draymond Green, hence today's show. That is the reason we're producing this show. Now, what happened? I'm going to take my time with this one. You definitely want to stick around. For those that are Jordan fans, that believe Jordan is the best ever, you want to watch this video. For those that, are not Jordan fans, but they understand he's the best ever, you want to stick around for this video. For those who may be on the fence or unsure about Jordan or LeBron, who's the best ever, you definitely want to stick around for this one. And obviously for those LeBron fans, you may want to stick around for this one because maybe I can give you guys some information that you probably never had before. Now, what happened? Yesterday, I saw a show from the Uninterrupted channel, and on that show, Draymond Green had the following to say when he was asked to give his top 5 NBA players of all time. So what we want to do is we want to play exactly what he had to say for you here, and then we're going to come back and totally dismantle this entire argument. Take a listen to what Draymond had to say here.
Who your top 5?
My top 5 is LJ number 1, MJ number 2, Kobe number 3, Steph number 4, and Shaq number 5.
Okay.
You got Bron first.
Yes, because what Bron has done, like when you talk about Cicely Tyson,
Yeah.
Bron started in 03. By 2005, Bron was the best player in the NBA.
Yeah.
In 2020, he was still the best player in the NBA. He was the best player in the NBA no matter what the game did. The game went from 2 slugs, like slow big man, to like a stretch 4 big man, to like back to 2 big man, to like big man.
Me and you out there playing the phone.
Facts. And he's been the best no matter what. When you look at the teams that Bron has carried to championship or carried to the finals, MJ didn't beat the greatest team ever assembled, nor did he run up against the greatest team ever assembled every year. You look at the skill set that Bron has. There's nobody that has ever played the game of basketball that can do what LeBron James does on a basketball court. Nobody. Michael Jordan could do just about all that LeBron James does, except for he for damn sure couldn't pass like Bron.
They had a vision like that.
I love MJ. I think MJ is incredible. Like, MJ is MJ. Like, we all wanted to be like Mike. Like, I wear 23. Come on now. Like, we all want to be like Mike. But what LeBron has been able to do and how he can control a game and, like, to do it this long, like going to the finals year after year after year. Bron went 8 or 9 straight.
9 straight.
Like, MJ took a break. Bron ain't taking no break. You know what he did? Went again and again and again and again.
With different guys every time.
And again. So for me, that's why it's Bron over MJ for me. And on top of that, the talent nowadays is way better. And I'm sure one of the old gonna say, you out of your mind, and this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. The talent is way better. Just like the talent at Apple is way better than the talent that was working at Apple in 1991.
Right. I think it's important that I state from the onset, I don't have a problem with the players that Draymond Green has in his top 3. However, what I do have a problem with is his reasoning behind his rankings. Now, I want to break this down step by step. I'm in no hurry today. No hurry whatsoever. He said, when you look at the teams that LeBron has carried to the championship, he said that is one of the reasons that he believes that LeBron James is the greatest player of all time. Let me enlighten some LeBron fans and people that may not know this. No one in the history of professional basketball in the United States, no one in the history of the NBA, nobody has had more help for him to capitalize on in order to win championships than LeBron James. Nobody in the history of the sport comes even close to LeBron. Let me explain why. Let's go through this. Let's go through all the all-star players, or all the players that LeBron played with that were all-stars at one point in his career. But as a matter of fact, let's start in the reverse. Let's start with Michael Jordan. I combed through Jordan's records, and the players I was able to unearth were Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, Horace Grant. Some people think, oh, Tony Kukoc. No, Tony Kukoc never made an all-star team. Those are the three players. If you have another player, please let me know. The total combined all-star appearances of those three players that Jordan played with, those elite NBA players, is a total of 10. The reason I'm using this number is to represent the aggregate amount of talent that LeBron has played with at one time or another, and in the same case with Michael Jordan. It's a representation of the talent pool that these guys played with. You let me know if I missed somebody. Now, let's go through the all-star teammates that LeBron has played with over the course of his NBA career. Sit back and get yourself a ham sandwich with this one, or pause the video and get yourself a sandwich because it's going to be long. Kyrie Irving, Dwayne Wade, Mo Williams, Carmelo Anthony, Dwight Howard, Carlos Boozer, Derrick Rose, Kevin Love, Russell Westbrook, Shaq, Ray Allen, Anthony Davis, Adrunas Ilgauskas, Wally Zerbiak, Chris Bosh, Rajon Rondo. That is 16 players to LeBron's 3. And for me to get the number I'm about to share with you, I actually had to use a calculator. The total, think about this, combined all-star appearances of LeBron's teammates amounts to 109. I may be off because there was a lot of work researching this video. The number I got was 109. If you got a different number, let us know in the comments section. So essentially, what that number is saying is that LeBron has played with 10 times the amount of talent that Michael Jordan played with and could not even equal him or surpass him in NBA championships. With more time. Let's factor that in. With more time. LeBron came into the NBA from high school. I believe in 2003, if I'm not mistaken. Jordan went to college. LeBron is in year 20. So LeBron had more help over a longer period of time and still has not been able to catch the GOAT. That's just the first part. We ain't even got into it yet. Now, I want to quickly address those that will say, oh, I can't stand this guy. Some of LeBron James' teammates were old. That's wrong of you. Disingenuous of you. How dare you? In 1998, Dennis Rodman, you know, The Last Dance, the one that we all saw, 2020, Dennis Rodman, go look it up, was about 37 years old. 37. So spare me with the nonsense. The same age that Carmelo Anthony was last year. Now, let's move on to the competition. And you can see why I don't like doing these, because it takes forever to research these shows. Let's get to the competition. Michael Jordan's record in the playoffs against 50-win teams is 20-7. The number is 27. He's faced 27 teams. His record against 60-win teams in the playoffs is 7-2. Keep these numbers with you. LeBron's record in the playoffs against 50-win teams is 10-9. That's 19. 10-9. Barely above 500. And his record against 60-win teams is 3-4. There are two things that those numbers just explained about the silly nature, the dumb nature of this debate. Number one, it says Jordan faced better teams over the course of his career, if we're using it in aggregate, if we're counting the numbers. That's number one. That's what it says. Number two, it says even though LeBron had 10 times the talent, he still could not win as much as Jordan going up against weaker competition. Think about what I'm telling you guys. Then you'll quickly begin to realize just how silly of this argument is, just how silly this argument is. And the fact that LeBron has only faced 50-win teams, think about this, 19 times, will perfectly explain to you why he was able to make it to so many championship rounds. He was playing against weak competition in a weak conference. Everybody knows this. The only people that don't know it are people who don't know it, who are totally unaware of it. Let me burst your bubble. That's how he was able to get to those. That's why Skip Bayless isn't bringing up that point for nothing. When you hear these guys talk about a weak East, they're not saying it for nothing. We all remember. If you don't know, Google is your friend. Or go ask somebody that's a little bit older than you that's in the know, that knows what they're talking about. That's the reason why. Now, let's get to the comments or the part where Draymond feels as if LeBron is the GOAT over Jordan in terms of the competition they faced. Let's talk about the total top 75 players that both of these players faced in the NBA Finals. Sit back for this one. LeBron has faced, I'll list them for you, Stephen Curry, Tim Duncan, Jason Kidd, Kawhi Leonard, Dirk Nowitzki, I believe that's 5, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and I believe James Harden. I believe that makes it 8. Now let's talk about who Jordan faced in the finals. The top 75 players. He faced Charles Barkley, Magic Johnson, James Worthy, John Stockton, Karl Malone, Gary Payton, and Clyde Drexler. A total of 7 top 75 players. So let's think about this for a second. Jordan played roughly the same amount of talent in the NBA Finals, but had less help and still won more championships. And somehow LeBron is better than him? How did you reach that conclusion? How did you get to that? I think what Draymond said was an absolute joke. It sounds like he spent a lot of time thinking about LeBron's career and having a lot of information about LeBron, although some of it is convoluted, because he thinks that LeBron was the best player in the NBA from 5, if I'm not mistaken, or is it 2003, whatever he said, to 2020. That means your information is convoluted. But it sounds like he did all his research on LeBron and did absolutely no research on Michael Jordan whatsoever. You're talking about what LeBron did. Well, let's talk about what Jordan did. Let's talk about that for a second. Jordan had a stretch where his team never lost more than 2 games. More than 2 games in a row for 8 seasons. Who's the player that did that? Who's the player that can do that? There's nobody you can bring up because nobody else has done that. That's number one. Number two, he's the only player, if I'm not mistaken, in the last, 25 years to three-peat. To go back to back to back, 2 separate times in the same decade, and not playing with 15 Hall of Famers or 5 Hall of Famers on his roster. He's the only one I can think of. There's an argument to be made, and I think it's true, that Michael Jordan is easily the best two-way player that ever lived. Easily. There's some players you can make an argument for on defense, yeah. There's some players you can kind of make an argument on offense, yeah. But there's no player that has that type of resume. There's no player that has won 10 scoring titles and made 9 all-first NBA defensive teams and won a defensive player in the year. Do you know Michael Jordan made more defensive teams than Scottie Pippen? Oh, did I mention that? Did I say that out loud? Yeah, you know Scottie Pippen? The man that's known for defense, the one of the most elite defenders in NBA history. Yeah, Jordan made more all defensive teams than him. And Kobe did too, by the way. And this is what you're talking about? You said nobody's done what LeBron is. Yeah, nobody's done what he's done. Nobody has had this much talent, lost this much, and had this many people in media twerking it up all over the place. Man. Nobody. Nobody. And finally, to close with this, the day anyone can come up with an argument to address the rampant losing that has happened on LeBron James's watch in his career. The day someone does that, that'll be the day maybe we'll begin to take you guys seriously.